Yeah. Okay. So, so welcome to the East Ilsley annual general meeting on the 4th of May, Star Wars Day, in case anyone didn't know, which is very special, obviously, for those ruling the galaxy, etc., etc. I'm not sure which side we're meant to be on. Welcome to any members of the public. Shall we kick this off then? So first things first, the meeting is being recorded. So if anyone doesn't want to be recorded, please obviously make it known and turn your camera off. And item number 1, I just need to find an agenda. I do apologise. Computer's not helping me. You're going to have to take me through because I haven't got a copy of the agenda on my new machine.
Okay, so item 1 is to elect the chairman of East Ilsley Parish Council for 2021-2022.
Okay, so have we got any nominations for chair of East Ilsley Parish Council for the forthcoming year?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone like to say who it is?
You.
No, it's not me.
Mike Lewis.
I'd like to second that. All those in favour, unless Mike has got any objection?
Can I have someone propose?
I thought Tracy did.
So Tracy proposed and
I seconded.
Mike Lewis, yeah.
Unanimously elected.
Yay.
Well done.
Like all the best chairs. Congratulations, Mike.
Well
good
done.
Job. We've got a good chair now.
So wait for number 3. So Mike, your first job is to elect a vice chairman of East Ilsley. So
let's do that then.
Yeah, take it from there.
Item 2, to elect a vice chair of East Ilsley Parish Council. Do we have any nominations?
Yes, we do.
Yes, Andrew Sharp.
I second that.
I third that, yes.
Can I vote against?
Yes. Do you accept, Andrew?
Thank you. It's a great honour. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, could I ask that Mike and Andrew please sign their acceptance of office forms and then present to the screen?
This is really where you need your Star Wars lightsaber pen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so poorly prepared. Is it May? It is, isn't it? Take the post-it note off.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
There we go. Peace in our time.
Can't quite see it.
Oh God, let me take the background off. It's all going so well.
That's it. Perfect. Got it.
Marvelous. Thank the Lord, democracy is saved.
Lovely. If you could keep hold of those, and then I'll make arrangements to come and collect them from you, because I need to send them to the monitoring officer within 28 days.
Thank you. Item 4, to receive apologies for absence from members of the council.
None received.
We are all here. Item 5, to receive any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interest or non-registrable interest by members or the clerk, and to consider any requests for dispensation for items on this agenda.
Nope.
Anybody? Anybody? No, all
Nope.
good. Perfect. Thank you. So then, item 6, to receive a report from District Councillor Carolyn Culver, who doesn't appear to be with us.
She isn't, but she has sent me a brief report. She's just asked me to read out, if that's all right.
Perfect.
Okay, so she tells us that the annual members community bid scheme is open for applications. We're actually talking about that tonight. Each member of the council can apply for up to £5,000 in match funding for community projects. They have to be capital projects, not day-to-day revenue costs. These can be applications directly from parish councils or from community groups with their parish council's backing. Deadline is 23rd of June. There are a number of public consultations open at the moment, including the Public Rights of Way Improvement Plan and Active Travel. More information is on the West Berks website. The public consultation on the Council's Environment Delivery Plan, how it intends to become carbon neutral by 2030, ended on the 26th of April. Caroline submitted a detailed response, which she will happily share with people if they're interested. The Western Area Planning Committee met on the 25th of April, did not discuss anything from the Downlands Ward, Ridgeway. Some meetings have been cancelled since Christmas because of lack of business, but there may be a surge in planning applications if and when life goes back to normal after lockdown. The reason why she's not here tonight is because she's got her own annual full council meeting. It's basically formalities, nothing particularly exciting. It was brought forward a week so we could hold it virtually before the 7th of May, return to face-to-face meetings, assuming there isn't a last-minute U-turn. And just a note to remind you all that the election for a Thames Valley Police and Crime Commissioner is Thursday, the 6th of May, and for us, it's at the Swan. And that's it. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Fen. Item 7, to receive questions or comments from members of the public regarding items on the agenda and representations from any member who has declared a personal interest. Still nobody from the public, Fen? Okay.
Nope.
Then we'll move on to approve the minutes from the previous meeting, the extraordinary meeting on the 27th of April.
So I just want to let you know that now I'm qualified. You'll notice that the minutes have got a slightly different style in that they're numbered with the year down the side. The purpose of that is obviously in the olden days when we would have written them in a book, you wouldn't be ripping pages out. So the idea is that the whole of the minutes for this financial year will be numbered consecutively, so that the auditors and anyone that wishes to view them can see that nothing's been left out, that they're corresponding numbers. They don't link to agenda items, there's no need for that. But this is just a slightly different style, but it's actually a bit more in keeping with our transparency. So I hope it's okay and it reads all right.
So we did make some corrections, didn't we, to item 621?
We did. So, and you've had those on email. Obviously, they happened before we submitted the agenda pack. We just wanted to clarify that the public were aware that 250 housing needs surveys went out and only 78 were received. And the 8 needs that arose from that survey were from the 78 responses. So we just had that clarified. And there were a few sort of typos and that kind of thing that Mike went through with me on the phone. So pretty happy.
So everybody
with
happy with that update? Have you managed to read that? Yeah, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Good, we'll move on then. So item 9, so our AGAR, Annual Governance and Accountability Return, to consider findings of the internal audit report from Helis and Launch. Already had an opportunity to have a look?
I think the key things from this is that we've done everything to the book very well, and we have met all the requirements of the joint panel for annual governance. Everything is kind of there, really. In terms of recommendations, I don't think there was any. Let's just have a quick look. First item of business was the election of chairman, so tick. There are no additional comments or recommendations to make in relation to this audit. Record the appreciation to the clerk for her assistance during the audit and thank her for the excellent standard of record keeping and presentation of the documents. So yeah, big ticks, smiley face and a gold star.
No, I'd like to add our thanks as well, Fen, for a job well done there. You're getting good at this.
Mike, can I formally minute that as a thank you from everyone in the Parish Council to Fen especially, because I think she's done an extraordinary job to bring the standards up so high. So Fen, if you could minute yourself being wonderful, that would be lovely.
Thank you.
So everybody happy with the internal report? Yes? All
Yep.
good? All nodding? Very, very good. 9B then, to approve the annual governance statement by resolution. Everybody read and happy with the governance statement? Can't see Mr. Pembroke.
Yeah.
Fine.
So just for councillors, the key thing here is that we have ticked yes, that we have done everything that we were supposed to do. The internal auditor has confirmed that we have indeed done that. So Mike and I are signing to say that all of us are in agreement that we've done the right thing.
Good. I'll sign that now. You can see that on the camera thing.
Perfect, thank you.
Item 9C, to consider the accounting statement and the receipts for payment summary.
Have you done both pages? You need to sign page 5 as well of the AGAR. There's 2 signatures on that.
Oh, apologies, yeah. That's the accounting statement, isn't it?
Yep. So we have 2. We have the AGAR accounting statement, and then the paper copy I've given you is an exact replica, but it is also needed for transparency.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we've got the annual return statement of accounts. Everybody happy with that?
Yep.
Thanks.
And the receipts and payments. So are we go good with that? So,
Fab, thank you.
right, thank you. Well prepared. Okay, item 10, to review and confirm the staffing committee members in terms of reference.
So Mike, as you're now chairman, you kind of need to be on that committee.
Yeah.
So I need to add you. Andrew, does that mean you want to stand down from that committee? Or you're on mute?
I think it's a good opportunity for someone else to have a go.
Yep. Tracy, are you happy to stay on the staffing committee?
Yeah, I'll stay.
Okay, thank you.
Brendan, would you like to stay?
Yeah. I'm fine, yeah, I'll stay.
So that gives us 3 people. We can have another one because we used to have Cheska on before she resigned. So does anybody else want to be on the staffing committee, which meets once a year? Stephen, get out.
Yeah, go on then.
Sorry.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
So yeah, does anyone else want to join this merry committee that meet once a year?
Yeah, I will.
For about 10 minutes. Brilliant. Thank you, Stephen. So in terms of the terms of reference, I've checked the latest model from NAUC and SLCC, and there are no amendments, unless anyone's picked up anything that they...
No, all look good.
No.
Fab, thank you. Could
Good.
we would need to think about, as part of our future meetings, we need to put in the next staffing committee, because which happens at some point in May. So when we get further down the agenda, if we could just remember to book in a staffing committee meeting, that would be fab. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 11, to determine the appointment of any new committees.
So we just ask this every year. Do we need to think about a planning committee, a finance committee, or a working party, or anything else? Or do you think we've got all areas covered at the moment?
I think we do all right as we are at the minute.
Yeah, I think we're okay.
Good. Item 12 then, to review and confirm standing orders for East Ilsley Parish Council.
Yeah, so just to clarify, there has been no amendment released from NAUC or SLCC to what was reviewed last year. There is a section in there that talks about the European aspect of contracts and tender awarding. which is subject to change now we've left the EU, but the new model has not yet been written or issued. So if you're happy to approve them as they are, and as soon as revisions come out, we'll review them at the next meeting.
Okay, everybody happy?
Yeah.
Good, thank you. Item 13, to review and confirm the financial regulations for East Ilsley Parish Council.
Same, no change to the model.
Okay, everybody happy?
Yeah.
Good, thank you. Item 14, to review and confirm the subscriptions to A, BALC, HALC, NALC and CCB.
Yeah.
All good?
Yeah.
And 14B, to consider splitting the cost of the SLCC clerk membership with Aldworth Parish Council. Fen, comments on that?
Yeah, I just feel that, as you know, my knowledge is now covering across 2 parish councils. I don't feel that you should be bearing the brunt of all of the fees. Their meeting is tomorrow, in which I'm also asking if they would consider a 50-50 split like we do with my training. So I just wondered if I can get Aldworth to agree, would you be happy if they did a bank transfer to cover you the 50% cost of my membership to the SLCC?
Okay, what was that
Sounds
about?
Yeah.
Okay. The other extra bit is because I've done so well this year. They've invited me to join the professional development scheme and become a principal member, and I get a lot more bang for our buck kind of thing in terms of developing my skills and knowledge, and it is an extra cost on top of the 112 of £55 per annum. So I wanted to see how you felt about that, if you think it's necessary or not. And if so, I would also ask Aldworth to pay 50-50. So it's up for you comments, really. And Mike P's raised his hand.
Yeah.
I raised my hand because, not for what you just said, excuse me, I feel like I'm a bit like in line of duty. There's HALC, BALC and NALC. I don't know what that is. So what is HALC, BALC and NALC?
Okay, there are county associations. So BALC is the Berkshire Association of Local Councils. HALC is the Hampshire Association of Local Councils, and NALC is the National Association of Local Councils. So the national one is our sort of, it's not really a governing body, but they issue all of the sort of policies and legal guidance and notices. BALC, we're in because we're in Berkshire, but they operate out of HALC's offices in Eastleigh near Southampton. So we also get comms from Hampshire as well, because they the cost is all together. You know, we haven't chosen to be with all 3. The 3 come together as a package. But we get local support, we get local knowledge, we get legal advice, and they're good people to have your back.
Cool. Thank you for clarifying that. Cheers.
And the SLCC is the Society for Local Council Clerks.
all of these groups, eh? I've no issue with the splitting it. I think that's a great idea between Aldworth and us. Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Would you be happy for me to think about becoming a principal member with the additional?
And what's your view, really? Because I think that will help us decide what we should do. Do you want to do it, or is it a kind of burden? Or
it would require me to undertake some training courses, because as well as doing what I normally do, so practitioners conferences and that kind of thing, I still need to achieve 18 CPD points per year in order to keep my membership, which I can do through training. And obviously we have a training budget, and it's in my contract that, you know, you commit to developing my career. But that's the only thing that's slightly worrying me, is about the sort of the time and the cost, because, you know, there isn't a flat fee of training courses, and I don't want to sign up to something and then they expect us to pay, you know, bonkers money for me to do a course just so I can get these 18 points. So it's a tricky one. And I also don't think I would get that level of membership next year, because I'm not taking another qualification. So I'm unsure whether, is it worth it for a year?
Okay. Well,
I think it's food for thought from my perspective, and it'd be worth hearing from what Aldworth feel in terms of, because obviously we're sharing your development now, we're sharing your career aspirations as a clerk. It would be great to get their vibe, to get a greater understanding of what that actually looks like. So definitely something we should retain on the agenda. But I think if we needed to, we were pushed, we should have a further conversation once Aldworth and you have had a conversation.
Yeah, I'm more worried about kind of commitment and time of these, you know, additional getting myself 18 CPD points each year. You know, if I don't get it, I get bumped back down to full membership. I just don't want that £55 to be a waste if I can't achieve that. So maybe I might have a look at the training programme for this coming year, see what might fit within the skills that I need. And if I can't make 18 CPD points, then there's no point going for it. It'll be a waste of money.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, no, sounds very good. Sounds very good. Can you see time commitment on those courses as well, Fen? So does it say it's 30 hours study or whatever to do this one? Or
I don't think anybody, it would be more like a day on this course or a couple of evening sessions on this. Nothing would be as mammoth as Cllr was. But you know, I'm worried about how many would I have to do to achieve the 18, and you know, put extra pressure on me. And you know, if you need an ad hoc meeting, that's going to put pressure on you to fit round a potential course. So I'd like to look at the calendar, see if it would be doable, and then maybe share that with you. And once we've heard if Aldworth would be happy to support, then it might look more attractive. But yeah, I don't want to sign up to something and then waste the money.
no, but as Brendan says, sharing the cost is sensible. We'll hear what Aldworth say, and then we'll talk about the extra money and the extra training later date. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 15, to review the direct debits approved by the council.
Yeah, I just have one quick comment about the allotment water. They used to invoice us monthly and take out a direct debit. It was I don't know, about £13 a month or something. And then they suddenly stopped. And I think it was because of lockdown and they couldn't get anyone out to check the meters. And they've just been doing an annual direct debit. So I had nothing going out of our kind of water reserve. And then suddenly 212 came out. But I had a look at their website and yeah, they're not sending people out as regularly as they did. So it could look like we might end up with an annual direct debit for the water.
Ben, I seem to remember in a long distance past, we used to charge Thames Water for renting of the pumping station land.
Oh, we do. We get £5 a year.
Should we put it up?
I don't think we can. It's a set fee for rental from council land.
But think of the administration charge. That must be another £207, I would have thought.
And they still provide me a cheque, which is kind of them. So I still have to
charge them for that as well.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
So has anybody else got any questions on the direct debits? Are we all good?
No.
No.
Thank you. And item 16, to confirm our eligibility to exercise general power and competence, Localism Act 2011.
Has everyone had a read of this? I've tried to put it in as clearer terms as I could. So we are now an eligible council because we have got 3 councillors that were elected in the elections in 2019 and still remain with us. And I have now achieved my qualifications. So if we can ratify that you're happy we meet that criteria, then we are allowed to exercise that power should there be no other power open to us to use it. So it gives us a bit more flexibility. It, you know, as an example, if an individual was to approach us and ask for some support with a project, using the general power of competence, we would be able to offer that support to an individual. So, for example, when Sue was making her scrubs in the first lockdown, do you remember we couldn't find a way of supporting Sue, so we ended up buying fabric. With this power, we could have just given Sue a donation towards her project.
Is that similar to Pete? Do you remember we had that issue where we were going to be giving Pete some money for some work?
Yeah.
But we couldn't do it, so the same apply. Okay, that sounds,
Same
yeah,
applies.
sounds good.
Yeah, so it's just it's a bit more flexibility. It is known as the power of last resort as well. So, you know, it's not something people actively go out using. It's there for us should there not be a power for us to use anything else with. Are you all happy that we meet the criteria?
Yeah.
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 Great. Okay, so we now have general power of competence for, until the next elections. Okay. So even if anything happens to me, you can keep this power until 2023. Okay. And then after that election, we will then have to do this process again. Okay.
Very good. Thank you. Item 17, to review the asset register.
So yeah, this is exactly what was sent to the auditor. They're happy with it. As you know, the value is over 100k now, and I have placed the order for the asset inventory software with Realtus. So I'll keep you updated on that. I need some training. It needs to be installed. Going to be a little bit of work because everything has to be photographed, locations, all the data transfer needs to be done. So that's sort of a project for me over the early summer. But if anyone spotted anything I've left off the asset register, please let me know. But I do review this every time we buy or get rid of a piece of equipment. So it should be pretty up to date.
Okay,
Yeah.
all good. We're happy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Item 18, to review the insurance cover in respect of all risks.
So I've just given you the very basic what it covers, but you'll see that we've added the war memorial last year, so we're covered for that now. That should be installed this summer to the church. They have our copy of our latest risk assessment, so and also our asset register, so we know that what we own is covered.
So the playground equipment was lifted to include the new.
Yeah.
Do those cricket nets need to be?
That's yeah, that is the cricket nets. I need to investigate what that might do to our premium. So I have sent them an email to our contact there. So I will share that with you via email when the response comes back. Just a note, a lot of clerks have had on the network have had Cayman Company renewals come through, and due to coronavirus, the premiums have skyrocketed. So yeah, expect to see that go up slightly when we come to renew on the 1st of October, but I will keep you in the loop with any documentation I get and let you know what the cricket nets cost is.
Okay, thank you.
Ben, quick question. In terms of the cricket nets, so that's great to have them installed. There's no work needs to be done around what we were discussing this when we post installation, covering our insurance, health and safety, because obviously not an official company have put them in. Are we covered?
We would probably need to do a risk assessment, but I think it needs. It's tricky because it's portable and movable, and that's the whole point of it. I will have a look to see if I can find a Cllr with a template that we might be able to adapt. But I don't think as it's a piece of equipment, I don't think you don't need to fill in a risk assessment to use it. We just need to know that we have looked at, you know, what risks could there be, and how we would mitigate those. So if you're happy to leave that with me as an action, and I'll see if I can find a template and share it with you on email.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
I think we might need to go down the line of some sort of disclaimer on the equipment used at your own risk, etc. Because it could be all ages using that, couldn't it? Okay. Good. Thank you. And number 19, to review the following policies. A, complaints.
Yeah, so I haven't sent you those because there's been no change to the model. So
Okay.
yeah, obviously, if you're just happy with them as they are, then that's perfect. We have got the one new one to which I sent you on email, which again is model policy, the most recent.
Yeah, that was pretty standard when I was reading it. So anybody got any questions? Everybody happy with the policies?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fine.
Thank
All
you.
good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. Item 20, to review the S137 expenditure incurred for 2020-2021.
Yep, so this is just pulled out from our finance software. So we spent in total using S137 money 1175. The amount we were allowed to spend is 3036. So we're well within that, and the auditor's happy. So it's just a tick box.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. 21, item 21, to determine the time and place for future meetings of the Parish Council.
Where can we go?
Well, yeah, it's a tricky one. We don't know is the answer. The school have not had anything from West Berks Council yet about what's going to happen to Bubbles. As soon as Bubbles are disbanded, then the hall is free for us to use again. But the issue at the moment is a Bubbles learning space. It's too risky to have it open for public and then expect Angie to go in and do the cleaning at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So obviously if roadmap goes to plan from the 21st of June, sort of restrictions are eased, we may not have a bubble situation. So I've penciled in as a rough guide, the 13th of July, which I will ask the school if we could have in principle. If we can't, if the weather's nice, we can meet outside. But yeah, hands are tied, unfortunately. Legislation ends on the 6th of May, so no more remote meetings.
The question is could we potentially wouldn't do this, but could we take space at the Crown and Hall? Is the rules that we have to be able, it has to be free for Joe public to come in. It's not a locked environment. So could we do something at the Crown whereby we had one of their rooms and open the door?
Yep, absolutely. It does say in our standing orders we are not to have a meeting anywhere that has an alcohol license except in extenuating circumstances. And this is an extenuating circumstance. We have no other available option. And I've spoken to Martin and Liam, and we could work something out. But we obviously need to we need a risk assessment. We need to be aware of what guidelines are in place. We need to ensure the safety of us and the public.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is why I thought if we don't need a meeting in June unless it's something urgent comes up. So by the 13th of July, we should all have a bit more of a clue about what we can do and where we can go.
Yes, yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Do any of those dates like glaringly wrong and you're all freaking out? Or does it look okay to you?
Let's have a look.
No, good for me.
Second Tuesday, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Fine.
So that's good. Is that all right, Tracy?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Brilliant. I did pencil in the staffing committee meeting for maybe the 11th of May. How do people feel about that? Those of you on the committee?
11th of May, this May, of course.
Yeah.
As far as I know, that's fine.
Now that will need to be a
Yeah.
face-to-face meeting. Where we have to exclude the public because we're obviously discussing confidential items.
Okay.
Can't be indoors.
Can't be, so we could
Go for a walk
go for a walk.
along the Ridgeway or wherever, yeah. Hayden's Lane.
What day is that?
Tuesday.
Yeah, next Tuesday.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so I will have to publish the agenda and we would have to pass the resolution to ban the public and the press and then we can discuss together outside.
Couldn't we use the allotment arms?
could, if you're happy to.
Yeah, great idea.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I will talk to the staffing committee on email, and we'll work out the finer details. I'll fill in my appraisal form and send it over to you, and then the latest guidance on what clerks get for their equal to their qualification. So you'll all be fully prepared, if that's all right.
That's good. Thank you very much. Okay, item 22, to consider areas of responsibility for each member of the council. I must say I can't remember who's doing what anyway from...
Yeah, I was going to say, doing a review of that would be good, and working out is there anything that's missing, any areas that are missing, now that we're obviously full council, which we've not been before, which is great, so we could divvy things up.
So who's looking after allotments currently?
Me,
Are you happy to carry on doing that?
yeah. And the common field as well.
And anything to do with getting rabbits?
Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
All the exciting things.
Yeah, all the
And
exciting
fencing.
shit. Yeah. Playground officer.
Yeah, that's me.
Are you happy?
I'm happy to do that. Yeah, happy to continue that.
Perfect. Common land is Steve. Digital officer. Did I get digital officer last time? I think I did, didn't I? Would anybody else like to be digital officer? No, shaking of heads. Go on,
No.
then.
Don't know what it is.
Looking at digits, apparently.
Did you? Do that.
Footpaths officer.
That's me.
Happy with that, Mike?
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Pond officer. Do we have a pond officer? I know we have Nick helping us as pond warden or flood warden.
I can't remember what I did last time.
And the question is, do we, for the pond in particular, is it, but that could be potentially a working group, because it might be require more than one council to take that forward with the project that we're putting in place. Potentially.
Yeah, it'd be good to have a couple of you that would be willing to work with me and Nick on the pond project.
Yeah, I will.
I'll do the pond. I'll do the
Okay,
pond.
fine.
Yeah.
I don't.
So
Yeah,
Brendan and Stephen. Fab. Thank you.
Good. Traffic and highways.
Happy to take it if you want.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Village design statement officer.
Now, this was, God, this has gone back a while, actually. This is when, yeah, we were doing that about 2 or 3 years ago. I definitely think that's something that we need to revisit, and that it will be quite a large working group, definitely. It should be much larger, getting villagers in as well. Make it bigger than us, effectively.
Ben, have we had any updates yet on how the new planning stuff might affect the whole village design statement activity? Because I wonder whether that's going to have an impact on how things go forward. Because obviously currently if legislation goes, you do a design statement, you know where you are.
Yeah.
But with the new planning regulations coming in whatever form they come in, you know, they may say it's a load of bunkum.
Yeah, I think all I've had is that generic, poorly spelt and typoed letter from Robert Jenrick's secretary to say thank you for my comments that I submitted on our behalf. Obviously, it's all still at consultation stage, and there'll be more discussions further on. So it didn't get us very far, but also didn't give us any answers either. But I'm kind of wondering,
should we revisit that once we've
Yeah.
got some clarity?
Yeah.
I think so, because otherwise you're right, Andrew, we could be putting all that effort in to scope it out and thing, and then all of a sudden they turn left on us, and we haven't been prepared, and it's a waste of all that resource and time. So it might be worth waiting for the steer.
Yeah. What about Penn Meadow proposal? Would that come under the village design statement?
I think so.
Yeah, that would, wouldn't it?
I'm just thinking, is it worth allocating somebody that would not do all the
Yeah, I don't
work, but
My initial reaction to that was to think that we should probably all be involved in the village design statement,
Yeah, I
because
think
we've all got a different network of people that we talk to, and that we can probably get a better view of what people are saying about what's going on in the village and planning.
Very
and
sensible.
Yeah.
good idea.
So let's have
Okay.
us all as a working party. That's important.
Yeah, that's perfect. What I'll do is this will end up on our notice board. We should be transparent about who does what. So expect to
Brilliant.
see this on the board soon.
And I can help Mike with the footpath. I just seem to be left behind with jobs. But but
You
I
can be the dog fouling. You can support the dog
Yeah.
fouling.
Good
Yeah.
one.
I'm just the doer. I do the benches, litter pick, and everything else.
What about like community engagement officer or something like that?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and conservation,
yeah. Fine.
because conserving the benches and stuff is really important.
Yes.
Yeah, we've done
Village-
some great work. Done some great work in that area.
Yeah.
Tracy.
Do you
Yeah,
want to
that's a
be
good
our village conservation officer?
Yeah, I can do that.
Right.
I like to do that.
And do you want community engagement as well?
Well,
So that-
I do see quite a lot of people, so yeah,
Yeah.
that's I'm going down
You'd
with
be
that.
good at that, Tracy, actually. Yeah, that'd be good. That's good.
Yeah.
Mike, does that
Mike,
sound okay with you? Are
Yeah,
you happy
it's
with
good.
all that?
Yep, sounds great.
Fab.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Okay, 23, to agree the creation of an action log for meetings.
Yeah, so this is just an idea. Obviously, we make resolutions, but we also have things to do. Like if you say to me, oh, there's been fly tipping, down Fiddler's Lane, can you report it? I just thought that rather than scrolling through all the minutes, if I had a spreadsheet that said minute reference, what the issue was, where I reported it, and whether it's been done and what the action is. It's just one thing we could look at the start of each meeting and say, what's our progress on this? And we can have open tickets, closed tickets, in progress tickets. And if you guys are going to help me out with something, like, for example, Stephen and the fencing in the common field, it would be Clerk and SM, and then we could get an update from you about the progress. And it just seems to make sense that we have one document that contains all of the actions that have been generated from a meeting, and they run financial yearly to coincide with our minutes.
It also acts as a brilliant reminder in case you've forgotten to do something, or what's happened, or we haven't heard back, or
yeah, and I could also put it on our website for transparency. So if people think, oh, I wonder if they know that, I don't know, that dog bin's full, and they can check that, it was reported on this date and the outcome was whatever West Sparks come back to me with. But I'd be happy to mock up an example, from...
I like the idea that it's a good audit trail as well. So yeah, makes perfect sense.
So is it worth changing that from just an action log to a RAID log then, which is risks, actions, issues, and kind of dependencies, where you just basically have a spreadsheet that has a page for each of the RAID. You can download them online. It's good project management stuff. And you can highlight in there where we've highlighted a risk and we've accepted it and minuted it so people can see, where we've done that. Again, actions is just that, who's responsible for what, when it was logged, when it was completed, any issues that are being raised as part of the pond work, for example, or whatever, or that kind of stuff.
I'm happy to look at examples, but in my head, I had it as a really simple document that we just kind of share at the beginning of each meeting and basically tick stuff off. But if we want to add in these extra things, then we can maybe work together and come up with some ideas and maybe present them at the next meeting in July, that would be populated with actions and things that have appeared from the meeting in April and this meeting, and maybe look at it together and see, well, that doesn't work for me, or what does work. I just think it'd be really it'd be good for me and good for you to see like what progress is being made as well.
Yeah, and transparency is essential.
And I can be a bit accountable as well to, the tasks that you give me and that kind of thing.
Yep.
Does that
Yep.
sound good?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, item 24, to consider making a donation towards the purchase of a COVID memorial bench for Downland Practice Surgery in Chieveley.
Yeah, I've put this in because I know we've had a discussion on WhatsApp. Obviously, you've all seen the bench, and Downland Practice at Chieveley have identified an area where it could be used by staff and patients, and would they be, you know, thrilled and really happy. I did put a request out to the rural clerks in the area. Chieveley have come back to say yes, they would provide a donation. My friend Sarah is asking Leckhampstead, Peasmore and Boxford. So she clerks for all three of them. She thinks it's a good idea. So fingers crossed something will come back from them. But I have had a lot of no's. So no from Cold Ash, a no from Hampstead Norreys, a no from Compton, a no from West Ilsley.
Hermitage.
No response from Nikki at Hermitage.
Okay.
I said to them, if you could put it on your agendas for your May meeting, that would be helpful. Now the cost of the bench is 1,250. And then I spoke to CJM Services about install, and we're looking at about 65 to 90 £90. So I was wondering, as Caroline's got a member's bid, maybe we could bid from West Berks Council for 50% of it. And
That's a good idea.
then the funds that we get back in from, you know, Chieveley and fingers crossed the other three that Sarah look after, and then what we want to put together, I think we might just scrape it. And we'd obviously have a plaque saying donated from and list the councils. But, you know, I didn't make any promises to the Downland and said, look, I will have to investigate. I think certainly Compton and Hampstead Norreys were very much like, if we have a COVID memorial bench, we want it in our village.
And they've got half the surgery, they've got a surgery outlet, don't they?
Compton do, so they feel like if they were going to buy one, they'd buy it and stick it at Compton's satellite site, which is fair play. I just feel like Downland Practice worked really well with us and our team of volunteers. And, you know, we provided a really good service to them because we were delivering to Farnborough, you know, under our remit. And we've built up a really good relationship with them. So it'd be lovely to do, but I'm happy to put a bid forward to Caroline for 50% of the install and the bench cost. So I just wondered if you were okay with that.
Yeah.
Can we do anything with Greenham and match funding and stuff and things for this? Is this something they would?
It's quite small.
Okay.
I only need about £700, don't I?
And how much then did did you ask the other councils for? We don't know.
We don't know. That it's been added to all the May agendas, so we will start to hear if they will offer and how much it will be. It's a tricky one. The other thing I would like to ask for support with is for the Wi-Fi on behalf of the school. That's still not been done because they haven't got the money. So I was wondering if I could apply for a bid that West Berks pay for the equipment of the Wi-Fi and FIPS would pay for the installation. I have spoken to Caroline. Only Frilsham want to apply for a bit of money for a community orchard and nobody else has expressed an interest. I don't know how lucky I'd be with 2 bids for this pot of money, but you never know.
How many bids are we allowed?
There isn't really a number. I mean, one is for the school, which benefits our community. The other is for everybody. We don't know whether that's going to cause any complications because obviously Chieveley surgery, where it's going, is Clive Hooker's ward. So would they give money to Caroline for something that's not going to go in her ward? So there are elements of things Caroline and I need to work out. So I feel like...
Sorry, we can only just try with both and see what comes.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
Because I was going to say about, you mentioned the fencing. So I went round the common field and round by the allotments with Pete on Sunday. and the actual fencing itself is not too bad, but the posts and stuff like that in there are shocking. And we need 60 full posts and 30 half round rails for the common field and the area that leads to the road by our orchard. That needs all redoing. So that kind of strikes me as something that we should be asking for that fund for, because that's going to be quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fence posts are expensive. I know. I've been looking at them myself.
Yeah, so 60 full posts and 30 half round ones, you know, the rails. It's all
Steve,
rotten.
where would you get those from? Because I can only, if I win the money from this bid, I have to provide accurate figures.
We can get quotes from like Barlow's and 2 online ones or whatever, but Barlow's are just down the road. So
Yeah, we only need something from Dave.
yeah.
Barlow's would be good, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
give us
I'd
a
put-
good deal on pallets of it as well.
Well, should I just bid for that instead?
Yeah, I think so.
See, I'm slightly on the fence. I shouldn't really say this when we're in the thick of COVID, but I am sitting on the fence a little bit for the Downland surgery, to be honest, because yeah, it does serve obviously the Downland ward, the Downland villages, but if we're not going to get buy-in from those villages that feed into the Downland surgery, then why should we be the ones in East Ilsley in particular when our sister and brothers in West Ilsley aren't going to help to fund it?
I
So
agree.
there is a balancing act where the school is important because the majority of children are either in this village or else they're in West Ilsley. And as Stephen said, the land effectively up in Commonfield is important to make sure that's secure. So they would be the 2 bids: the school Wi-Fi and the fencing that I would see as top priority.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cool.
yeah, definitely.
Okay, so shall
Sounds
I?
sensible.
Yeah, I won't do a member's bid for the bench. I will wait to hear what comes back from the clerks that have still got May meetings.
Yeah.
If I, what I don't want to do is stitch us up with a big bill because I've only got 50 quid from here and there.
Yeah.
Downland know that this isn't an assurance. It was an investigative thing to see if we could do it. And it looks unlikely now. So if I put a bid together for the school Wi-Fi, and Stephen, are you
I'll
going to
email you.
Yeah. I'll get something from Dave and then we'll put in for 50%. And don't forget, we've got earmark reserves as well for Commonfield.
Sounds good.
Thank
Do you
you.
have an idea on the cost of the Wi-Fi, Fen? Do we know what that?
Yeah, it's about
Was it
1,500 quid.
1,700? Yeah.
1,500 in total. I think the
Yeah.
install's about 450, which FIP said they could cover. So we'd be looking to get support from West Berks for the equipment, which is, a couple of decent routers and a few other things hotspots to bounce off in some of the external classrooms.
Okay.
I've got the quote anyway from the school office.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, item 25, to receive the clerk's report, finance correspondence and miscellaneous items.
Yeah,
Okay.
not much really. Just if that's the bank accounts as of 27th of April. We're starting to see the allotment rents come in, which is brilliant. So thanks to everybody that has paid on time. Towards the end of this month, I'll start to chase any outstanding ones, but it looks pretty good. That's it really. I haven't really had much come in. I would like to ask that we add our new chairman to the online banking. And I would like to keep Brendan, Stephen, Tracy, everybody on it in case people go on holiday and I need something urgently signed off. So I actually have printed off the forms and given them to Mike. So you should have the form from the Unity Trust Bank to sign.
I have.
Brilliant. So
Good.
what I'll do, when I pick that up from you, Mike, I will need to come and find you. So we might either do it at our walkabout meeting, or I'll meet you in the pub, and
Yeah.
I need your signatures, you see, as official bank mandates. And then I can upload that to Unity, and Mike will get all of his stuff through the post. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's it. The you know, we wrote that letter about the van in Old Stanmore Road, so that's been submitted to the employer, so they're hoping for a positive outcome, but they said thank you very much for doing that.
Good.
That's about it. Thank you.
No, thanks,
Great.
Fran. Item 26, to discuss matters for future consideration. Anybody got anything they want to add?
So I had one quick question, because unfortunately, apologies, I missed the last meeting about Penn Meadow. So the question I had was around, we're working with Manor Oak Homes, obviously, which is fine, is to get a greater understanding, because I'm not convinced, and someone will convince me, but I'm not convinced that they are going to hand over that meadow to us. And the vibe I got was that they'll hopefully get the 12 or 13 in, which should be fine. And then further down the line, the link road will come out the back and they'll try and put more in. Not that that would be wrong to do that, but I'm saying the clarity would need to come from them in terms of, are we likely, is Lockinge going to hand over the remainder of that land to us as a village? I'm not convinced. But maybe someone will convince me. I just didn't get that vibe myself. It was kind of
Brendan, I think they will.
Oh, they will,
because they've been trying to build on this field for 25 years.
Yeah.
And they know that without our support as a parish council and village, they ain't going to get anything. So they've tried so many schemes, and it always comes back to the same thing, that there's sort of, you can get away with probably that small corner.
Yeah.
You can't touch the trees.
Yeah, you can't touch the trees. You can't touch Penn Meadow at the front. They can't do anything with that anyway. So there's only that balance of the field. So I think it puts us in a very strong position as a village to say, here is what we want to even consider. And if you go anything other than yes, fine, off you go, come back in 10 years with another proposal. I mean, I think we've got, the other thing we've got to obviously do is ask the village in as many ways, because what was a bit odd was it, you know, and we have to make sure everyone understands this. The first time we saw that proposal was at that meeting. No one had any sight. We didn't know. I was disappointed my casino wasn't there. You know, there was absolutely nothing, so we didn't know what they were going to propose, and it's so different from the previous proposal, you know, with the huge houses that used every square inch apart from Penn Meadow. But I think now it's about getting the message across to the village, seeing what they think.
Definitely. And getting more of a consensus as well. I mean, they had little number, but that number still stands. But to get village consensus and get the majority rather than minority talking, let's give them another chance to have their say. And then they've had it. Yeah, indeed, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to put it forward for planning and then at planning get all the objections in. We want to get everything out on the table first of all, get everybody happy. But you know, it's we do need to.
I mean, all the information is available for people, isn't it, to look at, that we looked at the other week? Is that on our website and stuff?
No, but I was going to put it in the next issue of the EIC.
Well, if we do that and then maybe add an item for the next parish meeting on the whole development, and if people want to come and have a chat about it, we're being really open, saying, look, read it, look, this is what it is, and we can talk about it at the parish meeting. Nothing's set in stone.
Steve, I think we might have to have a special consultation meeting, because I think having the 5 minutes in the middle and then at the end for members of the public to talk is enough. Cool. Or we'll have to suspend, and we'll end up with like a 2 or 3 hour session one evening. So maybe a COVID sensible gathering or whatever.
Yeah, I think we need to do that. To be
Yeah.
honest,
Yeah,
I think
I
we
think
need
training will run quite high.
Yeah, we need
Yeah.
to make sure that we reach every single person in the village. So do not to exclude anybody by only doing it on a website. You know, if we could have some sort of drop-in session by the pond on a sunny afternoon with Jeff and his team, so people can ask questions, they can look at big blow-ups that they've brought along with them, stick a gazebo up, you know, and really let people engage with them and ask them questions.
yes, yeah.
And then have a meeting.
So I would say it's a leaflet drop then. Probably get everybody to help out dropping leaflets into every door.
Yeah.
And make sure there's some sort of facility to email in and lodge complaints, issues, comments or whatever before the event happens.
Yeah.
So people who can't attend or wish not to attend the public gathering will be able to have their say as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to go back to Jeff, because he's like, oh, the council seem to love it. Send an email to West Berks Planning and say you want to go ahead. I was like, whoa, hang on.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit loose, actually. I think you're right. Mike's right. We need to have full consensus at the village and then kind of stand back for the minute, and we'll have a lot more. They have a bigger road to climb, shall we say, that hill before we've got the majority of the village backing. So
100%.
a bit more work to be done.
Yeah. And there's a bit of a mismatch as well, because I think some people were thinking of that housing needs survey in a different way as well. They were thinking as whether people were being asked permission to build houses. They weren't. They were being asked, do they have members of their family that are growing up and would like to have lower cost housing? And that's how they've answered, right? It's whether we've got a need or not. It's not actually whether we want to have a development or how big the development would be and all that kind of stuff. Because they can't guarantee some things that were discussed as well about that villagers would get access to the properties. That all needs to be hammered out as well. So we do need to get everybody's viewpoint on that first. I think.
Definitely. Good. Let's do that.
I had a couple of items sent from Nick Watkins. For an agenda item going forward, could we at some point raise the question of traffic management in the village and speeding on Broad Street? So I said I'd raise those and I would add them to the agenda in July. If you're happy for me to do that. We can't obviously discuss them because they're not an agenda item tonight, but that's what we'd like
Makes
to talk
sense.
about.
And could we, rather than just saying speeding in Broad Street, can we just put speeding throughout the village? Because I'm not really clear of any particular street that isn't impacted by that. Yeah.
And the SID devices will be available for loan to councils again soon, of which we've got trained members. That kind of was a bit of a full stop and a comma, wasn't it, Mike? Because then lockdown came and nobody could share equipment.
Yeah, how come West have got those fancy ones? Did they buy them themselves? Did they?
Yeah.
Because how much are they? They're quite a bit, aren't they?
Really expensive.
Yeah, very expensive.
5-6 grand each.
Well, they've got one, haven't they? Or have they got them coming the other way?
They got him when you come off the A34 and down towards the Harrow on your left. And it's really sensitive. It gets your speed when you're quite far away from it.
Yeah, it's quite a good one. I saw it yesterday. It
Yeah,
went in
really-
last week, didn't it?
Yeah, really expensive. But they might have had a grant.
Yeah.
Don't know.
We talked about upgrading ours, because one of the things that the technology's now started to do is potentially digital capture, because it's all well and good going you're speeding, but it's really interesting that if you do a static SID thing, there is the potential to write to the motorist and say, you know, you were caught well over the speed limit. But I would
It was
imagine
on South today.
yeah, and I would imagine that at some point there will be these kind of automated ones that will write to the police or traffic management will end up writing to the vehicle, but only if you capture who it is accurately or within the realms of Traffic Act. So I think it's something we should probably look at going forwards as to is there a technological solution that doesn't involve people standing on the street pointing a camera or
If you watch South today, which was on BBC, You probably watch it on the rewind bit or whatever, or it'll probably be on the 10:20 tonight. There's a whole section all about using mobile phone data and those machines. And some boffin has written some code or whatever that does all of that in one go.
I've got GDPR and data protection flashing through my head.
Yeah. I mean, this is what they're doing it in our region.
Yes. Yeah, so the rules that West Berks traffic team follow is that you are to advise motorists that they're speeding in the first instance, which is what the SID advice does. It flashes up, you're doing 32 and you're in a 20 or whatever. But there's no record of number plates and things within that. It's just to advise. If over a period of time, there's a lot of data and it says that 70% of the cars coming down the road were doing 35–40% over the speed limit, then the next stage is a thing called a Centurion device, which is a thing that's got a little camera video recorder in it, and it takes the number plate, logs the time and the speed, and then there's a 2 or 3 strikes and you're out rule on that. So if you get caught on that, it's logged, and if you get caught twice, I think it is, then they write a letter on behalf of the police. They have permission from the police to do that. So it looks like you're getting a fine, but you're not. You're getting you've been a naughty boy or girl, you've been doing the speeding, we've tracked you down. If you do that again, then we'll be coming around your house type of thing. And then there's the full kind of, if it's repeat offenders, then it's actually radar guns or whatever at the side of the road. People
one of the issues you'll find if you walk the same route regularly is it's the same people speeding every single day. Every single day. I know some of the number plates by heart.
Yeah.
So I think we've got to have a longer term solution to this, because it is about training, and people don't feel there's a need to worry about the speed limit. And what worries me the most is the fact that we've now got school kids back at school. They are coinciding with the school buses, and we've still got bits of the village where we've got little bits of footpath and not other. To actually get to the bus stop, you've got to cross some quite busy roads.
Yeah. It's definitely a good agenda item, Fen. I think when we meet in July, as Nick said, definitely valid, should be on there.
Thanks.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, thank you. And 27, further questions or comments from members of the public? I don't believe there are.
There's no public. Yeah.
All right, that's it. Thank you very much, everyone.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Fabulous
Well
stuff.
done, Mike. Thank you.
Excellent.
See you later.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers,
Take care.
mate.
Bye.
Bye.